Welcome to another Life is All About Choices. My name is Nancy Mueller, and I love having these conversations with wonderful, amazing guests. And yes, I say that every week, but you are really going to love my guest today. Her name is Angie. And these are inspiring, motivating, and empowering conversations for you, the audience, because we want you to sit back, listen to the conversation, and whatever you pull from it energetically, spiritually, mentally, physically, emotionally, it was meant just for you. So welcome, welcome. Today we're going to be talking about releasing the emotions and feelings behind childhood sexual trauma and abuse. So if you've got little ones around, you might want to put your earphones in and just make sure that you pay attention to the content before you let little ears hear what's going on. So before we go any farther, my guest today is Angie. Angie, I'm so excited that you're here. Thank you.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Angie, before we go any farther, can you tell everybody who you are, what you do, and why you're so fabulous?
Oh, my name is Angie Haze, and I am a singer-songwriter. I produce all my own music, write my own stuff. I have a band called the Angie Haze Project, and I'm doing a web series, music video web series type of a thing, where I'm telling my story, where everything is like chapters in a book. So I decided to kind of become really vulnerable with this project, because I believe that, for me at least, the arts and particular music have been a safe haven for that vulnerability. So I've kind of embraced that and decided to share that as much as I possibly could, in hopes that it would, help people. Yeah.
Angie, I love that. And, just for the sake of, if you're listening to this video, and Angie said it's the Angie Haze project. So Angie, ANGIEHAZE project. You want to look that up. But what Angie is doing is she's releasing the negative feelings and emotions behind childhood trauma through her music. And what I love about her project and what she's doing is she's showing the world that however you want to come out and release the energy and the feelings and the emotions that are holding you back, it's okay. If you want to bake cookies, if you want to sing a song, if you want to do artwork, if you want to go to therapy, however it works for you, you deserve to do that. And Angie, I'm so, first of all, I'm so honored to be able to help share your message and spread what you're doing. But second of all, I really love your music, and I'm so glad that you're here today.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. Thank you. I feel like it's important that people do something, really, like you said, like however that may be, just do something with it, because the longer it sits, the more it festers and develops in, negative ways in our bodies and, our mental capacity. And it's just, it really ultimately infects us, I think. So yeah, I think just do something. I hope that's what people will find while watching or being a part of anything that we're doing, is like feeling that drive and inspiration to do something, for themselves. Yeah.
Well, and one thing that's really important to understand is our bodies are energy. We think that our bodies are solid. So, we look at our, like our arm or whatever, and we say, oh no, we are a solid being, this human being. But if you look really deep down with a powerful microscope, you'll see that our body is all energy. And the more powerful the microscope, you can see that it's just energy moving around, and there are spaces in the energy there. Yeah. So it stands to reason that if our bodies are energy, the world is energy, the universe is energy, our thoughts, feelings, and emotions are energy as well. So when you're moving your body, you're changing up that energy rather than sitting and just feeling the emotions that are negative and
Yes.
being steeped in them. And so what you're doing is so amazing, because obviously it's difficult to sit and listen to music and just be really still. So you're also getting people to move with your story, with your music, with the passion that you're sharing. Can you share with us, like, what encouraged you to finally say, you know what, I'm going to share my story. I'm going to get this out there.
Well, actually, so it was, it kind of came out. I woke up out of a sleep when I decided to do my series. I had been touring for a long time, a couple years, like on and off, kind of like living out of bags. I still hadn't unpacked quite yet, and and I had made the decision that I wanted to cut another album, but it didn't sit right to just cut another album. Like I'm everything I do musically, I like to have purpose, and a lot of like there's got to be a message, and it's hard to just do something just because. Like I just really like to, um, find something that I can give meaning to. So I woke up out of a sleep and I was like, oh my gosh, I know what I'm supposed to do. And I wrote for days. I just kept writing, and I decided I'm supposed to finally share my story. And I felt the push, and it's so funny because it's like I wasn't really mentally prepared necessarily. I just I it felt right,
Mhm.
but I wasn't really I wasn't really coming to terms with the difficult stuff necessarily yet. So I just kind of wrote the series, like what each music video was, the songs for each music video in chronological order. And some of these are songs I wrote years ago, and just either haven't released them or haven't played them. And I'm like, yes, this is what this is supposed to be. So everything's already planned out. And and I then decided, well, if I'm going to do this, I need to really, really, really embrace this. So I kind of felt like, well, I'll be the guinea pig to show how powerful music has been in my life, and how it continues to be powerful as a tool. So one of the videos, when I got to that spot in my story about my abuse, I decided to knock on the door of the house that I grew up in, and ask if I could cut the music video called "The Gingerbread Man," which is about my father. And they were totally open to me cutting music video there. I went into the house, went into the attic, and kind of scoped it out. And I had to process for a good month before I was even ready to cut the video, because it really did bring up a lot of stuff, and I had a hard time. Um, but and I kind of came to this point where, do I continue? This is hard. Yes, this is very difficult. But and my manager asked me, so you want to do this, right? You said, I understand if you don't want to, but you want to continue. And I said, yes, because this is how I take back that space,
Right.
A. And B, if I can do this, if I can find the strength and courage to do this, and people can see that firsthand, because the video is live. Like the next time I went into that house, I'm playing live in the attic, in that space, playing this song about my father. And there's a point where, and I'm singing about the grief, and then it switches, and I actually look right into the camera just
Mm-hmm.
to take back that space even more. And so that for me, it was powerful, because it made me feel, it's like you're taking back that the victim self, in a
Right.
sense. You're able to do something powerful and good with that. And I really wanted people to be able to firsthand see um, that process, and that they could too do that, because I definitely was nervous and shaken, but then I was able to really kind of bring it together again. Yeah.
That's one of the things that really touched me when I was researching your work and what you do. And I call those houses my house of pain.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I relate to them. Oh, that's where that happened. Oh, that's where that happened. So, but now I can say those words, that was my house of pain. but the negative feelings and emotions are no longer attached to those words. And I see that that's what you're doing with your music as well, because as you're releasing the negative feelings and emotions, it's taking you out of victim and vengeance mode, and it's showing you your strength, that you've always had this powerful, powerful internal inner strength. And you just got to a point from your child self, that remembers the trauma and the victimization, and we hold on to that as children and say, this is when and where I was victimized, so this makes me a victim. But when you find a way to release those negative feelings and emotions, it brings up this empowerment of like, yeah, man, it's like, that's it. This is not going to hold me back any longer. And it's interesting because I do mine from the stage and you do yours with your music. And I feel very, very pulled to your story to watch this unfold.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, I think that like you're saying, I think that there's a part of it that, we're so often told, or well, we hear in society, don't just be happy, or just, push that, here's a pill to make you
Yes, exactly.
or like, here's, what, just drink more, do jugs more. There's so many things at our fingertips that are just to, encourage the excessive behavior and really numb out the suffering. But really, like, I guess for me, the reason I love music so much is because through that, I full on acknowledge that suffering. And I think that it's so important that people do that. It's not bad to acknowledge and embrace and talk about and cry and really, really like come to terms with that suffering, do that in any way that you can. Do that, because, there's a very, very, for me at least, the second that I do that, and that's why sometimes my songs are really long, the second that I do that, I embrace that, there's a shift because I've done it. And now I want to give you hope. I'm giving myself hope, but I want to give back in some sort of way. Like, feel this with me, understand it. This is how it felt. But like, let's now shift this and turn it into something good. I can give this awful, terrible experience worth, and this is how.
Yes.
So I think like people just kind of realize, like, it's not that you need to sugarcoat or cover up or, go extra, like, I don't know. There's people that kind of go, you only can think positive thoughts. It's like, well, that's not how trauma works.
No.
You gotta acknowledge, you gotta embrace this and really, really like, grieve for yourself, because you deserve that. So you didn't have the opportunity to do that. So grieve, really feel it. And that's what I was doing in that song. The first half of that song, it's just all about grieving. And then there's a shift, Mm-hmm. So yeah, I think that's just so important for people to really try to figure out for themselves.
Well, and when we get in a habit of feeling a specific way, whatever feelings come to a person who has been victimized, and I want to say who has been victimized, because being victimized does not make you a victim, but it feels like you're a victim. And so when you feel like you're a victim, now you start to associate victim mentality, victim feelings, victim thoughts, beliefs, and those thoughts have feelings attached to them, and those feelings and thoughts create the choices that you make in your life. So you don't want to go after huge, humongous things because you're keeping yourself small. You're not allowing yourself to really get out there and live, because there's something in you from your child self. And remember, children see the world differently than adults. We intuit things as children. And then when we take that and we make it a belief and we make it really strong, then we grow up to be adults and we still are walking around with those childhood beliefs that are keeping us tethered to that experience. And when
Yes.
you can release the feelings and emotions, and that can, through whatever way, you sit down and you do the ugly cry and you say, this is how I felt, and I'm angry and I'm mad and I'm whatever it is, but don't hold on to it. Let it go.
Yeah.
And if you do it
Right.
through movement and through song, like you're doing, it's so powerful because you can just like see the negativity just like, yep, floating away, floating away, floating away. It's going. And it cleanses your soul.
Mm.
And
Yes.
that's what I'm getting from your music. And I love it. I absolutely love it.
Thank you. Yeah, I feel that like I love what you're saying though about yeah, you come to this point where you do all of that hard work, but then the understanding of once you do that, then you can let go of it. It's not like you forget it, but you're just able to, it's not so heavy. It doesn't have this like this awful hovering, you know?
Yes.
And sometimes I know for myself, like I've repressed a lot. I've actually, and I told you, I decided to start another therapy, some EMDR, because I know that one of my limitations, even through music, um, I, one of my biggest holdups is that I don't believe subconsciously, because I try to do this on a conscious level, I don't believe that I deserve to be fully successful in music or to have money, basically, like to be, you know what I mean? Like
Right.
there's a part of some sort of limitation there. And I know, and I can even remember where it stems from. So it's the trauma, it's the you're worth nothing, that whole mentality. So I decided I need to I would like to really, really full on embrace this more. I'm at a point because I've done a lot of the work through music. Now I'm at a point where I would like to just go even deeper, and
Mm-hmm.
then and hopefully really, really find where some of these limitations are coming from, and so that I can move on from that. Because I think that's really been it's been a damper. You know, people don't realize what happens in our childhood. You know, it can even be just something that someone says, an adult says something to you, and
Right.
you know, although that might be not considered traumatic necessarily, there's merit to the impact that it has on our brain, and that stays with a child for your entire life. And so taking that burden, and then you hear something like, oh, I don't deserve to get new things, so then you transfer that into everything, and then it sits on you, you know. So then you sabotage. So at least for myself, I have sabotaged myself in so many ways over the years, and it's been really frustrating, you know. So I'm trying to get to that now. I feel like I've done a lot of good work, but now I'm like, I need to go further.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like once we share our story, once we get it out there, like we're out, we shared it. It's like, okay, we shared our story. And then there's a jumping off point between sharing the story, being out, being loud and proud about, okay, yes, I've, I've spoken about it, and I'm not going to hold this in anymore. And I'm not going to take this onto myself. But then that jumping off point of, going from sharing your story from the negative feelings and emotions to releasing those negative feelings and emotions and being able to share your story from a place of empowerment. Now it's no longer, they're no longer like the roots that are holding you back. And when you talk about money again is just energy. Money is constantly
Yeah.
circulating in the universe. It's energy. And how we view our self-worth is also going to determine how we can attract worthwhile things into our life. So when we say, oh, I would like to buy that, or I'd like to have that, and then there's something in the back of your mind that says, you can't do that. Remember, you're just X. That's the point that we want to say, oh, no, I need to cut those cords. I need to let those go, because this is not going to hold me back anymore. Because we don't even realize that um, the energy that we've created in our childhood, it comes with us. It's in our very DNA. And a really good example of that is, let's say you're like 5 years old and you color on the wall and you're like, whoa, look what I did. I made this awesome artwork. It's so great. And then your parents come in and you get punished, for drawing on the wall.
Yeah.
Now, parents, this is not to blame anything on parents, so parents will come in and they think they're doing the parent thing and they will punish you like, no, 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 Sally, you don't draw on the wall. But depending on how the child intuits that punishment and the feelings and emotions that are attached to it, that child can grow up and never draw again and not understand, like, no, I don't like museums. I don't like artwork. Don't talk to me about drawing. And they don't really understand, like, what is it about me and artwork? And it doesn't seem like it's that important. So you just gloss over it. You don't even think about it. But when it comes to finances or your health or your career, your relationships, and you wonder, like, why do I keep sabotaging myself over and over and over and over again? And it goes back to those roots, those seeds that were planted in childhood. So as we unearth those and we break free, we let go, we release those feelings and emotions that have so negatively impacted our life. Oh my gosh, like, do you hear it in my voice? It's like freaking awesome, man. You just are like, man, nothing is holding me back anymore because that crap is gone, And when you have that feeling, you just know that there is nothing holding you back. Nothing, absolutely nothing. And again, this is what I see in your music. You have gotten to that point where you are sharing the negative feelings and emotions through your music. And it's like, I see it when I hear your songs, when I listen to them and I watch you on YouTube. I just see that negative energy and those negative feelings and emotions and beliefs. They're just like floating off and they're just dispersing into the universe and they're gone. And I love it.
Thank you. It's really what's been so helpful to me. I mean, I started playing piano. I was playing by ear, like little kid instruments, like around like 4. Like I would just pick up stuff and play by ear. But then I started to like play piano around age 6, like taking lessons, and but I played by ear and I would just make up stuff all the time. So I didn't even really realize I wasn't reading music till I was 16 years old. But I would, compose. I would just make up a song. I would literally, like, I was feeling so, so much, and I would just go into the room and just make up an entire piece on piano from that age, throughout my life. And so it really like helped me kind of, take that energy, what I was feeling, and disperse it in some way. And so it's really been my avenue into healing. And I think, like we were saying, like I've had my breakthroughs, have really been because of that source. And especially with this series, like kind of making that choice to share my story. Shortly after, I did a monologue in front of a live audience where I shared my story, and that was like it was kind of had this ripple effect. So it was like going from like the victimization and that type of mentality and going into relationships that were, just as abusive. I started to kind of, I made this decision to do this series, and then like, it was like, okay, like I kind of cut out the negative influences in my business and my relationships, my friendship, all this stuff just kind of like, it just kind of happened because I could see it more clearly. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm doing this for myself, so I'm giving myself worth and a voice. And as I'm doing that, I can see that this is hurtful and harmful to me. So I need to cut these ties. So as I started doing that, more opportunities kind of came through, and it was just started this ripple effect. So that's why I'm at where I'm at now. I recently got married. My relationship is incredible. I'm so grateful for being in a place where I can take a deep breath and feel emotional safety, which is the very first time. And that's where I'm like, okay, now it's time to get this stuff right here. And it's just, I don't know, I'm excited about it, definitely have, nervousness, of course, just as anything that you're working through, but yeah, I'm excited.
But those of us that are working through it in a very public way, it's different than someone who is, doing one-on-one with someone and they just say, okay, and that's fine. However anyone is
Right.
working through. The important thing is to give yourself permission that you deserve to release those negative feelings and emotions. And when I say work through it, it is work. There's
Mm-hmm.
no there's no getting around it. Nobody can do your push-ups for you. You know, if you want to get healthy, nobody can go to the gym for you. Nobody can, eat healthy for you. And, everything that we really want that is really important to us, we have to take 100% responsibility. And every day, every choice that we make is either getting us closer to that goal or taking us farther from that goal. But Angie, what I just heard you say too really resonated with me, because I remember the first time that I said the words out loud, it was like the floor didn't open up and swallow me, God didn't smite me with thunder and lightning, and
Yeah.
depending on, the religious dogma that you were raised with, that can keep you very, very steeped in your releasing of the negative feelings and emotions as well.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Very, very much.
when we have beliefs, and it's not just like, oh, I believe about the sexual trauma, or, oh, I believe, it's everything. It's everything. And as each thing crops up, you say, oh, okay, now I want to look at that. Now I want to look at that. And then when you get to something that is a little too difficult to look at, or you feel that resistance, or it's that stopping point, give yourself permission to just sit back and say, I don't have to do this all at one time. And know that
Yeah.
when you get to a point where you just say, you know what, this is just a little bit more than I can handle right now. But I promise you, as you learn to release the negative feelings and emotions around sexual trauma, sexual abuse, around victimization, you get to a point when, if something does come up that triggers a memory, you're able to work through it or process it in about, like 45 minutes instead of 45 years. And that is the
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. That resonates with me so much, because you're right. Like, there's this, with, especially in childhood with trauma, the way that a child processes or defends them, like kind of has a survival around
Yes.
trauma, is by repressing, or dissociating, and like just, and that's actually a really good thing in a sense, because that's what protects in some sort of way. However, the impact of that, and then, when you do have a memory later, it feels like your whole world is just coming down. Like, at least for myself, when I'm like, oh man, I didn't even remember that, or totally pushed that away. And so you're right. Instead of like, once you start this ripple effect, it's just like starting. I feel like it's the first, for me at least, it was the first thing that was the hardest, was probably doing that video, like out publicly and coming out, and and then the monologue, like those things were hard. However, it gets easier. Like, it's not like, doesn't feel like, years, each memory I'm gonna have to like hold on to this and cradle and like look at it and then put it away and then look at it again and put it away. It's more of like looking at this, I'm sharing it with someone, maybe, I'm able to finally talk about it with a couple people even, and then we, we acknowledge it, and then we kind of just go, all right, let's let this go. Let's let this go together. So we can kind of make room for other things to come in. And that's really, I think, a big part of it too. The more that we can acknowledge, let go, and heal from these things, the more that we're making space for positive energy, for opportunity to come through. And while we're allowing that new opportunity and positivity to come through, we're also aware of the things that we should, I guess, deter in a sense. So you can kind of go, oh, I know, I recognize that, and I will not, that's not somebody I will work with, or that's not a situation I'm going to put myself in. You start to become more connected to to that. Like you're more protective of yourself, which is
Yes.
that's the form of a relationship. And so, I've finally, for the first time, have like recently, especially, the grieving I'm feeling for my child self so much.
Yes.
Like I have a picture, and I'm like, and I look at her, and I cry. I feel I just want to cradle and protect her, And I've never felt like that. I always felt anger and resentment, and I couldn't look at pictures, and I wanted to scratch the head off so bad, and like really
Yeah.
angry and very detached. And finally, for the first time, I'm feeling that, and in feeling that connection and that protection, I'm feeling that even in my daily life. So I'm recognizing situations where, nope, that's not going to happen, or I'm not going to be taken advantage of there, or this is not, it's so it's really cool. It's really, really a cool process,
Yes.
yeah.
And what you're saying about children, how we learn to suppress it or go within, but we're also very aware of the adults around us and what we need to do to be safe. So we judge the feelings and emotions of others. Children are very intuitive, but nobody teaches that. Nobody says, "Oh,
Right.
you're a child, you're intuitive. Oh, you're a child, you're very empathic," because we
You're
feel.
sponge.
Yes, we feel the feelings and emotions and the energy, the anger, whatever, from the adults around us. And so we learn just innately to not only protect ourselves from it, but protect the adults from it. So we think as children, like, oh, you're my parent and I love you, and this is hurting you, although you are hurting me so much. I feel that I can be strong and just like, I can do this, and I want to protect you. And we learn that, and then we bring it with us into adulthood, and we don't realize that a lot of the times the reason that we don't speak up and talk about it is because we're still trying to protect others. We're still trying to say,
You're
yes,
right.
yes, if I share this is going to hurt my father, because then everybody will know what he did. This is going to hurt my mother, because then everybody will know what she did. This is going to hurt. And then you take on all the crap from all the relatives that will say, oh my gosh, I had a feeling something was going on and I didn't do anything about it. And, so you don't even realize that it's like the roots of a tree. Everything is connected. And until you just finally say, I'm letting go of the responsibility of everyone around me, and I'm just going to embrace myself.
Mm-hmm. The responsibility right there is what you just said. That is huge, and that's like I still struggle with that part. As far as I feel responsible for all things all the time, like even in like I feel like I want to, and I mean, and there's a good piece to it. There's a balance. It's like because of this experience, and there are things that I'm grateful for, and it might sound strange, but I feel grateful for the fact that I'm so empathic and able to see myself in others so much, and even just in animals too. And I know that a big part of like the sensitivity to animals is because they don't, not having a voice, and when they're, abused and whatever. But there's this connection there's this really, really strong empathic self, to voiceless creatures or kids or people in general. But I have to also understand that it's not my responsibility to, fix it all.
Yes.
You have to do you. And another part, and this is, I wrote a song, and it's kind of a reminder for myself to also help other people. And it's funny because like I go, this is for other people, but wait, no, this is actually for myself.
Yes.
It's called I am, you are, we are enough. And it's this reminder that, the only way that I can be helpful and the biggest impact of giving and doing good is by first doing that for myself. So it cannot work the other way around. It just absolutely cannot. you have to start with yourself. You have to say, I am enough. I deserve protection. I deserve to be nurtured. I deserve this healing. I deserve this process. The ability to acknowledge my trauma, my hurt, my anything. And because if I can do this here, then I can say to you and see that you also deserve that. And you know,
You know, I know that it seems like the video is, halting just a little bit there. But one of the things that I want to say is, there you go. Now you're back. Your mute button is on. Yeah, your mute button is on.
okay, there we go.
There you go. Yes, but you were talking about not taking on for everybody else.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
one of the things that we deserve to remember, deserve to know, deserve to learn is that however you see the higher power, the universe, and however you were raised to see the higher power. So if you were raised in a religious dogma that keeps you down, that keeps you shameful, in grief, in punishment mode, or I did this so I am bad or I am unworthy, that keeps you in a specific energy. But when you realize that you are the manifestation of a superior divine loving being, we come from love and light, and every one of us is walking this earth as a human being. We're spiritual beings having a human experience in this lifetime, and every single one of us is here for a specific purpose. So when we are trying to protect others, meaning take on like, oh, I can't say this because this is going to hurt you, what we're actually doing is we're putting out a message to the universe to say, I know that there's a divine plan, and the all-knowing has this wonderful, wonderful plan for everyone that comes from love and light. But maybe I should step in and take care of all of that because maybe you're asleep at the wheel there. That's when we're taking on more than we need to take on. And as children, we get into that, and we do that. And when we can release that, when we can come into our adult selves and release that belief that we have to be responsible for others, then what we're actually doing is we're saying, you know what, I love you enough to have your experience. And if you can't understand how this experience has affected me and be in my life in a most positive way from love and light, then I'm going to have to let you go, because whatever it is that the universe deemed worthy to send you into my life, it must be done now. And so I give myself permission to cut those cords and let you go. And it's like, two cars on the freeway, they can't occupy the same space. Otherwise you crash, so when you have a feeling, and then you want a negative feeling and a positive feeling, they can't occupy the same space. It's the yin and yang of life. So when you say, I am going to free up this these negative feelings and emotions, you make way for the positive to come in and absolutely just fill you up. And it's a wonderful state of being.
Yes, absolutely. And I think that's like, if we can figure out how to do that, within ourselves and our own lives, then that's what, and encourage others to also find that empathy. And then, that's really striking that that's why we're here, I think, is to really, really understand we are worth that.
Yes.
You know,
Well, and it's, remember, we come
there.
from love and light.
Oh.
Everything is love and light. I mean, we are born from love and light. We incarnate into this world from love and light. So anything that pulls us away from the love and light, i.e. negative feelings, beliefs, and emotions, when we allow those negative feelings and emotions to pull us away, that's what's pulling us away from our God self, you know, the spiritual being that we're here to be. And it may sound like it's just a choice of allow yourself to walk in the love and the light, or allow yourself to be pulled into the negativity. But when you ask yourself, okay, there are only two ways to walk in this world. There are only two ways to choose, in fear or in faith. But you might say, like, well, no, I'm walking in faith. I believe that I deserve X, Y, and Z. But what are the feelings and emotions attached to that? Because if you don't believe you deserve that, then what your faith is in is the negativity. I have faith that I don't believe in it. So it's very important to be clear on where your faith lies. You know, do you have faith that you are all that? You are amazing. You are wonderful. You deserve to have everything. Or do you have faith that you don't deserve those things? And this is where this is why meditation is so powerful. When you step into that oneness and you talk to your higher self and you say, you know what, I'm feeling this. And in those times, let yourself just break down if that's what you need to do. Have a box of tissue by you, a glass of water, and let it go. Let it just flow from you and give it away. And when you give it away, you make space for the positive to come back in and fill you up. And that's where you want to share your story from that filled up, positive energy of love and light. Like, yes. And here's why that's difficult for us to do, because we are taught from very early on that that's bragging, that you're being boastful, that you're being arrogant. But arrogance and belief in yourself has nothing to do. They're totally separate. So words are so important. Pay attention to the words that you're choosing to describe yourself, your feelings, your emotions, your worthiness. All of those matter. And when you really start to pay attention to the words you use, you'll understand that your words come from your beliefs, and your beliefs come from your thoughts, and they all have feelings and emotions attached to them. And that's how you're going out into the world every single day. That's how you're presenting yourself. So if you're finding that, you know, you're steeped in the negative energy and emotions and beliefs, you have the power to release that, to let that go. And you can do it through movement, anything to get the energy moving. Talk to people. What is it that fills you up? And this is why it's so important to understand what your purpose and your passion is, because that is your superpower. That's what you're here to do. That's what you incarnated into this lifetime to do. And when you step into that, there's just nothing stopping you. And Angie, your superpower is your music. And you're sharing this beautiful message with your music. It's like you're this, you know, superhero up on stage, sharing with the world how to step into their purpose, their passion, their joy, their livelihood, their deservedness. And you're doing that through your music. And because you have gotten to a place where you said, you know what, I see that I have this power, but this is what's taking my power away from me. So I am choosing to step into my superpower so that this power no longer has an effect on me. And because you're doing that, you are just creating this vibrational energy for others to step into the love and light and feel through your music what they are so worthy of deserving.
Oh, thank you. I really appreciate. Thank you so much.
Absolutely, absolutely. Angie, can you tell people how they can reach you, how to get a hold of you, just how to follow you on your YouTube channel? Let them know, you know, where they can get a hold of you.
Yeah, sure. So I'm on YouTube. It's just if you just look up, I think it's just youtube.com and then the Angie Haze project. Like you said, just the Angie, ANGIEHAZE project, because everything is. So you can find me there, or even just if you just type in Angie Haze. And then I have a website. It's just the AngieHazeProject.com. Facebook, same thing. Yeah, that'd be great. You know, shoot a like on the page or send a message. If you even comment on any of the videos, I like to have like a lot of like discussion and dialogue. I am sharing my experience through EMDR. I start next Friday officially. I've been doing like paperwork up until, next Friday. So I decided to really document my experience because I would really like to just be really real and raw about it if anyone's considering doing it. And really just because I like to be able to be any kind of tool, look, this is this is it firsthand for me. And maybe if you see the success in it, then there's the evidence to go through it yourself. So I'll be doing that. Yeah. You can
That's
find that on my
wonderful.
YouTube.
And I see a book in your future too, like just because it's about the music. And I think however we can get it out there and let people know that, yes, this happened. And because I was willing to step out of it and share it with the world. And this does not mean anyone who is working through childhood trauma has to share it with the world. That's not what you're hearing here.
No, not at all. No. Yeah, it's
No.
just how you like. Yeah, I don't want people to feel like, oh, you're not doing it right with your
Yes.
trauma if you're not sharing it publicly. No, you're right. I think it's important to just understand that. Just do something with it, even for yourself. If that means, like you're saying, baking or painting or writing or just something that's channeling that energy out so it's not sitting in there and poisoning you, Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because you are a gift. You deserve to wake up every morning and say, oh my gosh, I deserve to be alive. I am here because I am love and light. Now, what can I do today to feel that love and light in me? And, that might mean letting go of relationships that no longer serve you, careers that no longer serve you, anything that is keeping you steeped or mired in the negative feelings and beliefs. You deserve to let it go. But also, just know wherever you are on the journey, you're exactly where you need to be. Don't let anyone tell you you should be farther along or you should give this up. I remember one time I was crying and sharing something with a friend that had happened. And, I was probably sharing it with her for the 150th time, but it was so traumatic for me. And she turned to me and she goes, you just really need to get help. And I felt so unheard and just devastated. And I felt like it just bam, 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 set me back. So there will be people in your life who are going to say these things to you, but be kind because not everyone is understanding about what you're going
Yeah.
through. And, we will choose people to share things with. And if we don't get back what we were looking for, don't blame the other person. Just, give yourself permission to say, ouch, okay, that hurts, and feel through that however you need to feel through it. But then keep going. Find your someone. Find that
Yeah.
person, place, the
Yes.
music, the books, the teachers, the coaches, the mentors. Find that person, place, or condition that's going to just keep you steeped in the worthiness and the love and light that you are and deserve to be.
Yes. Yes. Your side resonates so much. No matter what that means, and honestly, like there may be times, and you might even be dealing with it now. I'm going through a lot myself, just embracing the EMDR thing. You might not be able to get out of bed. You might be like the depression can sometimes or the anxiety. Like right now, I'm feeling I can't. I'm trying to keep myself sane in words, I feel overstimulated, sounds, lights, all that stuff. So, and I know, you know, a lot of that comes from, so I've even bought some earplugs that I can just like self-care things, like, okay, I can't stand being in loud environments right now, and I'm a musician, so I'm going to use earplugs. Just thinking of kind of thinking of like plans to like keep yourself sane and happy. And if that means not going out, then that's fine. Just don't do that. But also make sure you have somebody, a something, you know, you have someone to, like you're saying, like, there will be people who won't get it and won't give you the response that you're looking for, but there are people that will, and they're out there, you know, and have been through it too. And I think coming together, that's why I think for us going public about this is our way of like showing you, we get it, we've been there, we understand it, and you're not alone.
Exactly. Exactly. And I will tell you, that person who did not respond in the way that I wished she had responded, she was one of the catalysts that prompted me to start working with a therapist. So, you know, something that you could feel so unheard could be the catalyst to take that next step. So
Yes.
never underestimate how the universe is moving, literally moving energy in your life every second, every millisecond, to bring you to the love and light that you deserve, because we all come from love and light, and we're all going back to love and light. So anything in between is something that's keeping us from living that life of happiness and joy and pleasant experiences. And that's not to say that we're telling you that, you know, if you're feeling anything negative, that it shouldn't be that way, because life is about yin and yang. Everything is a positive and a negative. We have to have the negatives in order to enjoy the positives, and vice versa. So just know that if something negative is coming into your life, tell yourself like, whoa, this doesn't feel good right now, but I know this is shifting into something more positive. And all you need is one little thought, one little like pinprick of a belief, like maybe, just maybe. And, you know, even if you get the mantra in your head, everything is possible. Everything is possible. Everything is possible. Just say that to yourself over and over and over again until you can add to it and then step out, because it's one step at a time. It literally is one step at a time. And whatever you choose to believe, and every belief is a choice, literally, every choice you make has consequences, positive or negative. But be kind to yourself. You know, if you make a choice and you're like, oh, that didn't work out the way kind of that I had anticipated, say, okay, that means I can shift into something better. Everything has an opposite, a yin and a yang for everything.
Yes. Yes. I love that. So true.
Angie, is there anything that you'd like to share or add as our time's coming to a close?
Let me think here. I think just one thing I always like to kind of tie in with the experience of trauma is, and I think that it's to be said for a lot of people who've experienced it. There's another side, like you're talking about the yin and the yang, but there's this immense amount of strength that I think survivors have, and with that strength, there's also this, like, you're talking about belief. I think for me, like I don't identify with like any religion or Christianity or anything like that. For me it's very it is definitely a sense of, you know, a connection to people and the universe, but I do believe in the magic of the universe for sure. And I think there's this, when you can really, really be open to that magic and that power, you really can do anything. I can't even, there's so many stories I have that where I've been able to even like just, you know, like say, I'm going to tour with that person and then I am doing it, or I'm going to do this and then I'm doing it, or I'm going to learn that instrument and I just do it. But I really believe though it's because of that opposite side of not feeling like you can do anything. So there's just this, you know, we have, the cool thing is having that opposite extreme of that suffering, you also have this, there's this other side that you know exists, and it's in the process and the art of it is just defining where the balance and the connection come, you know, so you're not, you know, wallowed in one thing or superficial in another thing, you know, just kind of really coming together. So yeah, I don't know.
Yes. That's beautifully said. Thank you. Because it's not about just saying that the world is all, you know, sunshine and roses and rainbows and unicorns. It's believing it. It's understanding. And when you feel it, everything is an emotion and a feeling. And when you can release the negative feelings, you make room for the positive feelings. But that doesn't mean that you're never going to feel a negative emotion or feeling again.
Right.
So
That would be strange.
yes. Yes. It's about taking it.
You don't want that.
No.
There's no authenticity in
Right.
that. This is where a real well-rounded human, you know?
Yeah. That's why music can take you up and bring you down and take you back up again and bring you down. So, you know, ride the wave. That's the best way to say it. So Angie, thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting that. I like that.
Yes. Thank you for being here. I so appreciate it. I really appreciate what you're doing, the energy that you're putting forth to share your story. And by sharing your story, you are empowering others. And I so thank you for it. And for all of you listening today.
Thank you, Nancy. And thank you.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Thank you for creating space. Thank you so much. That is so like valuable. And I really am honored. Thank you. Really appreciate it. Thank you for your work.
You are so welcome. And I'm so happy to be part of your message. Thank you. And if you're listening to this, watching this, subscribe to our channel. Let others know. Leave a comment. Let others know what you got out of this. And you don't have to share anything too private, but you know, people are always wondering, should I take the time to watch this video or not? Your comments matter. When people know that this had an impact in some way positive in your life, then see what you're doing then. You're taking my message, Angie's message, and you're adding to that message. And it's like we're weaving a huge tapestry to just keep making it bigger and bigger and sharing with the world. Like, we have inner strength, and it's so powerful, and it takes a village. So please, yes, share your message. And if you are feeling disempowered in any area of your life, remember, everything is possible. I promise you. In the meantime, this is Nancy Mueller saying ciao for now.